Oh, the man is? Yeah. Okay. So what are you gonna do? Yeah. Yeah. Well, can you do it at your house, like right now, like just with just a apartment? You can't do it in your apartment? Yeah. You'd have to kind of, yeah. Okay. Uh, they make it up as they go. Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Right.
Just a gentle heads up to whoever, I think someone might be talking on the phone. We can hear you. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you know that, but you might want to mute yourself, whoever's chatting. Just a heads up.
I have to let you go here because I'm.
Hello, ladies. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
Hi.
Hi, welcome to the first Women of Tribe class. I'm so excited that you guys are all here with me.
So nice to see you.
Likewise.
And so it's nice to see you because I'm.
So my name is Andrea. I recognize some faces. I also see some new faces. I'm excited to get to know you all a little bit and tell you about my journey. And I'll be talking a little bit of relationship stuff. I'll be talking a little bit of personal development stuff. You'll get to hear more of my story, like I said. Maybe while we're waiting, I think there's some people joining as we speak. Maybe while we're waiting, what we can do is just some quick intros. And for everyone who doesn't have their camera on, if you don't mind sharing your camera, because we would love to see you, it makes this a little bit more interactive and a little more fun. And then I just ask that everyone who isn't speaking, if you don't mind just muting yourself. I don't think I have that ability. No, I don't have that ability. So just while you're not speaking, if you don't mind just muting yourself to make sure there's no distractions. So I guess let's start with some intros. I'll start off. My name is Andreea Muresan. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, I am married to Ben, humble CEO. Hopefully you've all heard of him, and he partnered up with Matt McKeever to create Cashflow Tribe, a community for real estate investors. It's very exciting. We've grown quite a bit in the last few months. Got to meet a few of you at the pop-up party this past weekend at the boot camp. But why don't we start off with maybe some brief introductions? Arlie, do you want to get us started? There you are. We can't hear you yet. Can you unmute yourself, Arlie? There you go.
Hi.
Hi.
I was talking to myself.
So good.
My name is Arlie Green. I am a real estate investor. I live in Brampton, and I have properties in Kitchener and Toronto. And I heard something about you. Are you a project manager?
I am not. I'm a treasury manager.
Oh, okay. Okay. Project manager, I
Close
thought.
enough.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Arlie. It's good to see you again.
Thank you.
Michaela, did I say that right?
Yeah, that's right, Michaela. Hi, nice to meet
Hi.
you all. Hi. I'm from Vancouver, BC, and I'm an investor in Windsor. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this class and to hearing what everyone's doing and learning. And yeah.
Awesome. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Hopefully
Thanks.
we'll get to meet each other in person sometime soon.
Yes, I've met your husband at OREC, but I don't think I got the chance to meet you.
No, maybe this year.
Okay, I hope so.
Awesome. Well, welcome.
Thanks.
Archie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, I'm Archie. I'm from Toronto, and we do a couple of properties in Toronto. And lately, we have been investing in real estate. So we'll be working on our fourth year. We're here this Friday, so it's excited. It's like we've been through a lot, so and it's nice. I'm here to learn more and just know you all, and hopefully we'll meet someday soon.
Awesome. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. Brittany, hi.
Hello, how are y'all?
Good.
If you couldn't guess, I'm from Texas. I started out with y'all, so that was kind of funny. Kind of rolls off the tongue. My husband and I, we own Obsessed Academy. We're all about scaling purpose-driven lives and businesses. And we were at the last boot camp. We were speakers there. So it was really cool to be able to meet some of you. I see some familiar faces and stuff. So it was a really fun event.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight, Brittany.
Absolutely.
It says Paolo, but I know that's your husband. Anna, good to see you again.
Hi, good to see you, Andrea. Yes, my name is Anna Torres. I'm not Paulo, as you can tell. Yeah, my husband was actually at the last boot camp this weekend. I just joined a couple of nights, and we're just starting our journey in investing and just trying to learn as much as we can. And I'm really hoping this is going to be a good opportunity for me to know more people, to get some networking on, and yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Welcome. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Jessica, we can't see your face, but we see something on the camera. There you are. You're on mute. We can't hear you.
Hello?
There you go.
I don't see any pictures.
Oh, you know what? Jessica, we can't hear you. All right, maybe we'll try her again a little bit. She's frozen on my screen. I don't know about everybody else. Zilla, did I say your name right? Can you unmute yourself? There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, I'm Zilla. I live in Pickering, Ontario. I'm actually new to this. I got introduced to the information actually from my sister who lives in the Cayman Islands. I have no idea how she came across this, but I'm looking forward to investing sometime soon. So I'm hoping to learn as much as I can with during this forum.
Awesome. Welcome. It's very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Tanya, hey.
Hello.
You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Tanya. Just getting into real estate and really enjoying the journey. And yeah, doing a flip right now, which is awesome.
And I think I can hear you talking because you're 2 rooms down that way.
Yes, I know.
I don't know if you all noticed, Ben Humble CEO was behind her a minute ago. They were hanging out with Ben today. Oh, and now there he is. All right, Paula. I'm not sure if Paula's there. We don't see her face. Maybe we'll skip her, and if she decides to pop up, we'll have her unmute herself. Selena, hi. Do you want to give us a brief introduction?
How do you hear anybody?
I just unmuted Selena, so hopefully we can hear her now.
Hi. I'm
Hi.
here. Hi.
No, I can see them, but I can't hear fuck all.
It might be an issue maybe with your phone because I can hear Selena. Selena, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Selena. I live in Sault Ste. Marie. Very new to real estate investing. Looking to purchase a property soon, if all goes well.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Welcome. Glad to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Gail, you want to introduce yourself?
Me?
Gail.
Oh, sorry. I'm like, I think we already did me. I can introduce myself again.
Maybe she's having some trouble. All right, Marie Pierre.
Not really sure.
Sorry, I'm on baby duty.
Baby duties.
Okay, so I'm Mary. I'm a real estate investor. Been a couple of years, and we do flip and income properties.
Awesome. Welcome. Glad to have you on the call.
Now let's turn off the sound.
Let's see. Katie Stewart. Hi.
Hi. Hi. I'm new to this whole real estate investing, so I'm just here to listen and learn.
Awesome. Welcome. Hopefully we can teach you lots.
Good. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Awesome. Fayez, I see you there. And I see Zara and I see your hand.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zara, and Fayez, also Mark, known as Mark. He's part of Cashflow Tribe, and I am a spouse trying to support my husband.
Hi, good to see you again.
You too.
Catherine Dunbar. Hi. Uh-oh, you froze on my screen. I'm not sure what's going on. All right, maybe we should try the chat feature with you because it seems to be freezing up on my end. Janet?
Hi.
Hi. Where are you from? Introduce yourself.
I'm from Harrow, Ontario. And I've been following Cashflow Tribe for a while. Just excited to be on here.
Awesome. Welcome. Glad to have you on. Oh, Snickers, come here. Come here. He's whining. My little dog is in the room with us. Come on, come on. All right. Where did we leave off? Jasmine, hi. You want to do a quick introduction?
Sure. Hi, I'm Jasmine. I know a few of you have already met me. Nice to see you. So I'm kind of new to the whole Cashflow Tribe as of, I guess, mid-January. I went with my husband to the boot camp that they were having in London. And at first, it was honestly just, I don't know if this is kind of part of how my introduction is supposed to be or not, but I went to the boot camp to see how, like, information what he was to make sure that things were not a scam and stuff. And from there, I met some really lovely ladies, and Andrea being one of them. And even though Brittany, I like briefly introduced myself, I'm really looking forward to our next meeting and our next chat. And yeah, I have 4 children ages 1 to 9, so busy. I'm a dental hygienist part-time, and I own a side little business making handmade things, so keeping busy as always.
Awesome. Good to see you again. Let's see, who else didn't go? I see some chat. So it looks like Erica Robbins is driving. She's from Windsor. I had a chance to meet Erica recently. She is awesome. Glad to see you on here. Looks like Jessica introduced herself. She is from Brampton. She's a mortgage agent working mostly in private lending. Good to see you again, Jessica. And Anastasia having trouble with sound. Anastasia, sounds like you can't come online either. I also had the chance to meet Anastasia last weekend, and she's a beautiful, beautiful lady. So did anybody not go? I'm trying to check for names here. Kind of raise your hand or unmute yourself. Looks like everybody went. Awesome. So glad to have you ladies here. This is something new that I'm doing. I've never done anything like this before. So I'm just excited to connect with you every Wednesday. About 7:30, we're going to come live, and I have a couple of things I want to talk about today, but I want to make this interactive. That's why I kind of had everyone introduce yourselves, and just to get to know each other a little bit. And certainly as you have questions or comments or anything that you want to add value with, we would love to hear you. So just feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand if I'm talking or whatever. Like I said, I want to make this interactive, and I want us all to kind of get something out of this. But I thought I would just start with a couple of things, specifically, maybe tell you a little bit about myself. So I think a lot of you probably have heard or met Ben Humble, CEO. So I am his wife, and I am not just his wife. I am my own person. I have my own identity, but proudly married now for 11 and a half years or so. It'll be 12 years in September. We have a little dog who was over here whining a few minutes ago. So I don't know if you guys heard that through the microphone or not, but he's an awesome little Shortky, Shih Tzu Yorkie mix. He's a fun guy. So like I said, I've been married for almost 12 years. Ben has been working in real estate and some other businesses before that in cleaning. And throughout the entire time, I've never worked like one-on-one with him. I've always kind of had my own career. I went to school for finance. I graduated with my degree back in 2008 and started working right away in corporate finance. Switched around a couple of different companies. I'm hearing some background noise. I'm not sure where this is coming from. If you're not speaking, just make sure you're muted. So I jumped around a couple of times through different companies, but currently working as a senior treasury manager for Quicken Loans, which I work in Detroit. So it's the largest largest mortgage originator in the United States. Finance is a passion of mine. I love anything that has to do with money. I like anything that has to do with numbers and analysis. I really like using that critical thinking side of me. And so, watching Ben doing the real estate side, I help out as much as I can, but I still have my own career and kind of been working up the corporate ladder, if you will, for the last, almost 12 years. So, in terms of unique abilities, that's something that Ben talks about a lot, and it's something that's very near and dear to my heart because I've really learned what my unique abilities are, and I've tried to figure out how can I complement Ben and help him, right? Because ultimately, as a couple, you're working together. I don't think that from a goal standpoint, I don't think that you should want to go here and your significant other should go here. I think it's very important that you guys work together and you have the same goals. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to work together, but rather like you both have to work on the side business or the real estate or whatever it is. But I think it's important that you use your unique abilities to figure out how to best complement each other. When one has a weakness, if that's your strength, definitely make sure to use your strength to complement the weakness of your spouse or your partner. And I think it's also very important to identify what is your role in the relationship, specifically in the business. Are you a driver or are you a co-pilot? And I'll tell you, for me, early on in our relationship, in our marriage, I always wanted to be the driver because I had seen a lot of women in my family, like my mom and my sister, they were kind of the drivers. They were making the big money decisions. I mean, ultimately, their husbands, my dad and my brother-in-law still had some input, but a lot of times it was the women kind of being the drivers in the family. And so I grew up with that. And of course, when we got married, I was like, I'm ambitious and I want to do all these things and I'm going to drive our family forward. Only to realize that Ben is also very ambitious on his own. And so I think early on in our marriage, it created some conflict or just butting heads on, oh, we should do this with our money, or no, we should do this with our money. And I think, you know, at one point, and this was well into our marriage, I realized that technically, or at the end of the day, he is the driver. I need to let him drive, because he is very ambitious, and I know that he's going to get to something that's going to put us both in a better situation. So I just kind of assumed that co-pilot position. And I think there's a third position as well, which is a passenger, because I think sometimes you have some spouses that are very driven on their own and they're very ambitious. So they might be 50-50 partners, or just very strong participants in the business and with the idea generation, things like that. But there's also women who maybe they don't want to do anything with the business. So they're more passengers, they're just there. They get together obviously with their husbands or with their driver, and then but the driver is the main one kind of pushing the agenda forward. So I think, you know, one is very important to identify in your relationship, who is that driver? And if you think it's you, that comes with a lot of responsibility. Don't kid yourself about that. Make sure you know what that means, because from a personal development standpoint, from a constantly pushing forward, not giving up, it's very easy to get comfortable. And that's probably something that's happened to me a few times throughout my career, right? Because I work in corporate finance, every couple of years, you know, you get comfortable. You've been doing the same thing, you know your job inside out, you're confident, and it's comfortable. But it's when you go outside of your comfort zone that you really grow. So I think as a driver, it's important that you never accept the status quo. You're always challenging the status quo. And, you know, if you want to get to here, okay, how do you get there, right? You got to make sure you're taking all the steps, you know, personal development, going to develop different relationships with maybe other investors or other business partners. There's a lot of things. And like I said, I think it comes with a big responsibility so that you don't become comfortable. If you want a truly successful and big business, you have to always push for change. You have to always adapt, especially with the market, because the market's always changing, right? Back in 2008, it was super easy to buy homes because you could buy on the MLS. There was plenty of inventory. There weren't a lot of investors, so the competition was very small. And so I would just say, like, you have to be able to adapt. Now it's a whole different environment, right? So being able to stay ahead of the curve and really understand the market dynamics and just being on top of different strategies and kind of understanding that. I think that's a huge responsibility. And like I said, it's very easy to get comfortable. So the first thing that I would, you know, advise you in your relationship or kind of in what you're going through is just identify what your role is. Are you the driver or are you the co-pilot? Figure that out for yourself and make sure you communicate that with your spouse or your partner. I think communication is one of those things that is so important in any relationship, whether it's with your spouse or even with your parents or friends. So many times, like, we'll say something, but the way the other person perceives it is not the same, right? Message sent is not message received. So I can say something and the tone or the exact words that I use can make the other person think something completely different. So make sure you communicate, especially with, again, what your role is. Make sure you communicate that with your spouse. Make sure you align on your goals. This is a very big one that I'm passionate about. Ben and I didn't necessarily talk about what our goals were as a couple when we first got married. We both come from pretty humble backgrounds. My parents had always saved, so that was kind of instilled in me. I think Ben's parents were very similar. So when we first got married, we just decided, okay, we're just going to save and invest. So we lived on one paycheck. We lived on Ben's paycheck and we invested mine. We saved up for down payments. We bought different real estate properties, things like that. Sorry, I am hearing background noise again. I don't know where it's coming from. If you don't mind just muting yourself, whoever, I don't, this might be Catherine. There we go. So definitely aligning on your goals. And even if you've been together with your partner for a while, it's never too late to have those discussions. Like, where are you guys trying to go? What are you trying to achieve? Do you want to just get by in life, or do you want to achieve greatness, right? Figure out what your goals are as a couple, and they don't necessarily have to be monetary. Maybe it's, maybe it's serving at your church, or maybe it's building a great family, or maybe it's supporting your family. It doesn't have to be monetary, but figure out what's important to you and write that down as a couple, and make sure that when you think about every activity you do throughout the day, if it doesn't align with that, just question it. Should you even be doing that activity? And then of course, from a monetary standpoint, I think probably a lot of people have goals, and when we talk about retirement, things like that, make sure you align on what that is. Maybe it's a vacation a year, maybe it's retire by the age of 45. Like, I don't know what it is. You got to figure that out for yourselves, but make sure you talk about that together as a couple. I talked a little bit about this at the boot camp this past weekend, but in terms of bank accounts, right? I think a lot of couples have separate bank accounts. Personally, Ben and I do not. From day one, when we got married, we said, okay, well, we're one, we're a couple, we're married, we're going to be together forever. We're going to join bank accounts. It seemed natural to us. But I know a lot of couples don't have that. Maybe if one person's maybe a little more irresponsible with money, they kind of keep things separate. In my experience, if you leveraged the finances you have, the assets that you have, it'll get you further ahead. Elena Cardone talks about this all the time, but the Clydesdale horses, right? One horse can pull 8,000 pounds, two strapped together, they pull 24,000 pounds. So kind of like the same idea from a finances standpoint. If you join bank accounts together, you can do so much more because you can leverage each other as assets. In terms of your goals, like I said, you should have couple goals. That's what you guys want to achieve together as a couple. But again, Elena Cardone talks about this, and to me, it was a huge eye opener when she talked about it. Imagine you have a sheet of paper and you have 3 different columns, right? So in the middle, it's your couple goals. But then on either side, you have his and her goals. It's important that you have individual goals and you know what you're trying to achieve individually so that you don't lose your identity, right? It's very easy when you're working on your couple goals, it's very easy to lose who you are as a person. For me, I want to make sure my health is good. I want to make sure my faith, I'm in a relationship with God and I'm always talking to God. I want to make sure my family and friends, they know that they are valued and that I spend time with them. Ben might have other goals. So it's important that you don't lose who you are and your personal identity just because you are aligned on your couple goals. Like I said, when Elena kind of explained that to I think it was at the 2018 10X GrowCon, that was a big eye opener for me because I think I was getting a little trapped in that couple goals because I was just working, trying to save money, trying to buy more real estate and do different investments. But it really hit home when she said, no, you should have your own goals. And that's when I realized that I was losing a little bit of my identity in those couple goals and not really focusing on me. So I think it's very important just to focus on you for a little while, focus on the couple, and then he can focus on kind of his goals. So in terms of what can you do to be the best supporter for your spouse, whether you're the driver or the co-pilot. Like I said, I think as a driver, there's probably more responsibility. And I hope that, from a personal development standpoint, that should be a given, but, constantly seeking more knowledge, more growth. How can we become better? What skill sets do we need to practice? If you're the one negotiating contracts, or the one putting in offers, practice that every single day. You got to practice that skill and make sure it becomes better. If you're the co-pilot, what is the best thing that you can do? And, I'm a co-pilot, so I'm speaking here from my experience. What's the best thing that you can do to support your driver? And for me, I realized, this was a few years ago, but I realized that the best thing I can do is to grow my mind so that I can have some of those quality conversations with Ben. Because I realized while I had gone to university and I got my degree and I was working corporate finance and all was great, I was kind of staying here. From a personal development standpoint, maybe I was, taking a leadership course or reading a leadership book every now and then because that's what was required for my job. But I noticed Ben started, reading more, watching different YouTube videos, podcasts, et cetera, et cetera. So he was constantly growing, and it got to the point where I'm like, there's a gap here. And a lot of times we'd be sitting at the dinner table, Ben would have a problem that he's trying to solve. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, because I don't know what you're talking about, or I haven't personally experienced that. I just honestly don't have a solution for you. And I realized that's because I was here versus his mind. He was operating at a whole different level. So I realized at that point that I needed to grow my mind, and I need to develop myself so that I can keep up with his growth, because otherwise the separation and the gap just gets way too big. And honestly, I was afraid of just falling behind, because I don't want to fall behind. At the end of our lives, when we're 70 years old and we look back on our life and everything that we've achieved, I don't want to say, oh, everything we have is because of Ben, or I don't want to be like a shadow behind Ben. I want to be like, both of us together as partners, this is what we've done. We both worked our butts off, and we both use our unique abilities, but we did this together. This is a 50-50 partnership. And I don't mean to sound like a feminist or anything like that, because that's not where I'm going with this. It's simply that my ambition is so great, and I don't want to rely on Ben to get us to where my ambition wants to go. I want to do it together. And so that's why I realized that the knowledge gap that we had, I needed to start filling that in. So I really took, and it was very intentional. I took some time, and I just started reading some books, started trying to get my mind right. I think the mindset piece is the biggest piece, because if you don't have your mind right, it doesn't matter what you're trying to achieve from a business standpoint. Somewhere it's going to fall through the cracks. Somewhere something's going to happen. It's just not going to work the way that you intended to. So does this sound kind of interesting? Is this resonating with a lot of you ladies? I see some heads shaking. Feel free to ask questions. I got a couple more things I want to talk about, but feel free to ask some questions, or if you want to come on and kind of give your thoughts, I would love to kind of hear what you think about some of these ideas so far, and whether you've struggled with any of this, or maybe you've found a way to kind of crush through some of those limiting beliefs.
Be right back, buddy. No fuss, okay?
Desiree, you have something you want to say? Maybe not.
I'll say, for me, I think I really like the initial part you were talking about, with like the whole just finding out whether you're a driver, whether you're a co-pilot, whether you're supporting, whether you're the person to kind of push the sailboat. For me, I think we're still in that phase where we're figuring that out. And sometimes it's really, really great and things click and we're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm supporting you, you're supporting me. Or I realize something and Daniel will come in and be like, oh my gosh, like I just came up with this and I'll really help him. But sometimes it's like the opposite, where we're just like, like what's going on, right? And I remember there was a time, like just a few weeks ago actually, where like we literally sat in Eaton Center for about, I would say literally like 3.5 hours, just trying to figure out like, okay, we have to figure this out. What are our roles? What are our unique abilities? And how are we going to leverage that to help further and expand and, just kind of move the business from there. And I think from those conversations, I really realized that, he's the person that is the expert. He's the person who's just like, I need to know every possible detail about everything that I'm doing in the business. Not everything I'm doing, but about the strategy itself, and then execute it. Mm-hmm. I'm the person that's like, I see the strategy and I need to understand it, but how can I now make it better? How can I fill niches and fill gaps? How can I, I guess, innovate the strategy itself? And I think us coming to that realization, it really, really helped things with us. So like what you're saying is like so important, especially for me, like working, and it's not even just in marriage, any business partner, right? As investors, we're always working with people, right? We're always working with partners. So we need to figure that out going into the partnership. What is your role in this partnership? And having that partner understand that is huge as well.
Yeah. So you said this happened about 3 weeks ago. How did you find that decision and kind of the work, or I guess the interaction between you and Daniel after you guys made that decision?
I think like it was just a complete like night and day. I think there was a lot of times that he would bring ideas to me and I didn't understand it, or saying we have to stick to this, and I'd be like, I don't understand it, I don't get it, I just want to do Y, and he'll be like, well, I just want to do X, or I'll bring a new idea, and I'll be like, hey, like what it would be cool if we could do this again. That whole thing of like seeing what we have and seeing how we can improve it and make it better. And for him, he's just like, but I don't even understand that. Why are we even talking about this, right? So like, when we came to that idea and realizing that with both of us, then we now recognize bringing our ideas to the table. We're able to recognize it as our strength showing out rather than something that's derailing from the plan, right? Because before it was a matter of like not recognizing it as a strength and as an opportunity for growth. For me, seeing that like if he needs to understand everything, that actually helps our business, because if he understands it, we're actually going to execute. And for him, realizing that I might have an idea that he didn't consider. We said before, we're like, man, like it's almost like I'm the rear view mirror, and I'm just the side mirrors, like on the seeing your blind spots that you don't really consider at all. I'm essentially helping you from crashing. You know what I mean? And since then, it's just been like so good. It's been a lot of clicks, and even with the flip that we're doing now, like I was like, hey, like like someone had mentioned before, like, hey, why don't you consider wholesaling? And like we've just been bouncing ideas off of each other, and it's just a lot more seamless now rather than butting heads. So
but that definitely wasn't easy, especially when you guys made that decision.
No, not at all.
It was a tough conversation. So sometimes you have to have those tough conversations with your significant others. Conflict is a big one, which I'm going to spend a lot more time on it probably next week. I don't want to go too into detail with it. But for me, I'm always one to turn away from conflict. I'll get over it. It's not a big deal. We don't need to talk about it. Versus Ben is very adamant that no matter what, if somebody has an issue with the other person, we need to talk about it. We need to resolve it. And I've learned that brushing things under the rug, eventually they come out, right? Because you lift the rug and they're still there. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. I'll tease you a little bit about next week's topic, but I think to your point, Tanya, I think that the conflict, the fact that you guys were able to resolve it, now that conflict is gone. You guys know your roles, you know exactly how to interact with each other, and to your point, kind of playing on each other's strengths instead of pointing out the weaknesses. So thank you so much for sharing, Tanya. That was great. Or Tanya, I keep saying your name wrong. And I've talked to you a million times. I feel terrible.
It's totally fine. Literally.
It's because you spell it with an A, so it throws me off.
I'm unique, I guess.
You are very unique. Well, I got 2 E's in my name, so I guess I don't know. I got my own stuff. Does anybody want to share? Does anybody else want to share? If you've had some experience with this? It's okay if you're shy.
I mean, I'll share if no one else wants to, or if no one else has something to bring to the table. So Evan and I, we've been working together for 6 months, and we've been almost married for 3, but we've been together for 8. And I've been able to see Evan be the CEO across the entire realm of our relationship, but in different forms. So when I decided I wanted to be a part of what he was building with Obsessed Academy, it was really daunting because I didn't know where I fit, because I didn't know what my strengths were, but I knew I wanted to be a part of it. So it honestly, come to find out, wasn't a struggle with our dynamic. It was an internal struggle that I had of understanding that internal conflict of what I really wanted, but what I was doubting, So at first I just started out as admin. I was like, we had a business conference last year. And if anyone knows me, which some of y'all do, I'm not an admin. You know what I mean? I want to be able to, that's just not my personality type. I want to be, I'm more of a builder, right? So it started off with me like saying, oh, well, maybe I can help you with the conference, right? Being able to be kind of behind the scenes, but not up in front. And then that helped me build up my confidence and stuff. And then now in the next 90 days, I'm actually going to be the CEO of the company. So being able to make that transition was really funny because, right? Thank you. I see people clapping. It was really interesting because it wasn't an issue with us. It was an issue with me because he saw strengths in me that I didn't know I had, right? I didn't know I could be a CEO. I just thought I needed to be behind the scenes. I thought I needed to be quiet. I thought oh, thank you. Thanks, Stacy. She told me congratulations. I don't know if anyone saw that in the chat. Thank you. But I think I would almost challenge that because all that I needed to do, oh, thanks, Erica. Another congratulations. Sorry. Thanks. For me, what I would really encourage y'all to do is have those open conversations with your partner, your business partner of, you know, I don't know what my strengths are, but what do you see in me? What do you believe I'm in the right role? Do you think that I'm better fit elsewhere? Because once I was able to take a step back and look at my strengths, I don't have the strengths of an admin. I'm actually the strengths of an operations. I'm actually the strengths of a CEO. So I would almost encourage that because as soon as I told Evan, you know, I don't think I want to be an admin. I want to do more. Instantly, he was like, okay, cool, let's go. You know, so being able to kind of run with your partner was kind of cool too.
That's really cool. Congratulations. I'm super excited to see you thrive in this new role. Yeah. So excited for you.
It'll be fun.
For sure. And guys, or ladies, for those of you who haven't met Evan in person and Brittany in person, just an amazing couple that Ben and I are fortunate enough to know. We dearly love both Evan and Brittany and the crew that they brought with them, Billy and Tori. Amazing, amazing people. So we're very fortunate that they're part of the Cashflow Tribe family. Does anybody else want to share a little bit? No? All right. Oh, Stacy, go ahead. Oh, Jasmine, take turns.
Okay. All right. Actually, what you said, Brittany, is probably very similar to what I'm feeling. I feel kind of like lost. I know that I want to encourage and push Kimball, who's my husband, into our new, I guess, our new path together. But I feel kind of lost as to what my role is and where my strengths are. I know I'm a very relational person, and I know with his very, very limited time that he does have, because we have a family, sometimes, number one, our kids are obviously going to be number one, but where is my role that I can like pick up the pieces or gather things together and then hand it to him when he does have the time. So I actually don't think I've had that conversation asking him what is my strength or what can I really do. So yeah, thanks for sharing. That kind of gives me some clarity.
Go ahead, Brittany.
Sorry. Question. Do you know what his weaknesses are? Do you know where his strengths and weaknesses stop and begin?
Yeah, I do. I know his weaknesses. Well, maybe I shouldn't share so much, but
no, you don't have to. You totally don't have to. I just didn't know if, because me and Evan.
Let me tell you. Hold on.
No. Just like get off the list. I just didn't know if you did, because for me and Evan personally, we're complete opposites in our strengths and weaknesses. So it was a little easier for me to kind of have an understanding of what needed to be picked up and if I was capable of doing that. I didn't know if you've ever looked at it from that angle before.
I know that like he's reserved, likes to keep to himself, do his own things, and I'm someone who I want to go out and meet everyone. I want to go say hi to everyone, give like strangers hugs, whatever. And I know like going to these boot camps, it's very uncomfortable for him, and I'm almost like the security blanket for him, which he is definitely stepping out quite a bit. So I know that by kind of pushing him into things that he's not very comfortable, like volunteering him to do like one-on-ones with people, he doesn't really, he wouldn't normally do that himself. So I know that I can get him to that point. And once he's at that point, he's good. He can have that conversation. So I do know that I have that weakness for his, or that strength for his weakness rather.
And I think to Brittany's point, it's a great conversation for you guys to have together. Maybe as you're identifying your role, identify those strengths, but also say, hey, like, do you agree with these, or do you think it's something else? Like, what area do you need help with, and how can I support that? Because I think it's going back to what I said earlier about communication. It's so important that you guys talk about it, and not just surface level, but like actually go deep with the communication. I think that kind of conversation would probably be pretty eye-opening for you.
Well, thanks.
Awesome. I think Stacy, you had your hand up earlier. You want to chime in?
Yeah, sure. Well, I agree with what you said earlier, that there has to be alignment. If there isn't alignment as far as personal goals go, there isn't going to be any success. And I walked away from misalignment to get, I sacrificed a lot of things just for myself, because I know I won't be able to rest until I accomplish my goals. And my significant other wasn't on the same page, and it was creating a lot of conflict. And I'm at peace now that, I am free to achieve everything that I want to achieve. And, and I'm grateful that you ladies are here, you know what I mean? That, and we can share together and learn and grow, you know what I mean? But alignment is important as far as goals go, because you can want the world and somebody else is satisfied with mediocre. And as much as you try to communicate, one person is going all like mindset keeps going up, and one person is like, stay, and it's creating a division, even though you may try your hardest to say that, building on each other's strength instead of breaking down. But self-worth is a lot as at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you ladies. If you can identify what your partner's weaknesses is, and he is willing to, you know what I mean, or you're on one side and you see that you can help him in whatever way that he needs help, I agree with that, you know what I mean, as well as vice versa. So I don't know if I'm making sense to you guys, but self-worth and cooperation always makes it happen. In my situation, it was not. So I chose myself, and willing to learn and grow.
That's a very tough decision that you had to make, because to your point, you were trying to achieve those goals and there's just no alignment. And it's a tough decision, and probably very, go ahead.
Sorry, it wasn't even about that. It's about mindset. The separation became so far that they don't understand why, you know what I mean, you do the things you do, or you're driven the way you are, and they think it's, it's hurting. They think you're trying it to intentionally hurt them. And as much as you may try to explain, no, it's just about wanting more in the short term so you can live that life in the long term. You know what I mean? You make sacrifices now, you know what I mean, to grind now so that you can, be up there and have that quality time, you know what I mean, to live the real life that you want to live, rather than, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And the fact that you ladies are on this call tonight, that's probably the best thing that you can do. Because to your point earlier, when the separation becomes too large from a mindset standpoint, I think that's when a lot of relationships just kind of, I don't know if it's inevitable or if there's any way to correct that. Maybe if the foundation is strong, maybe there's a way to correct it, but chances are it's probably not going to work if that separation is too large. And I'll be honest, like when I realized that like Ben was way up here and I was down here from my mindset standpoint, it was a very scary thought for me. So that's when I was like, wow, I need to get my butt in gear and I need to figure this out, because right now this is not working. And I know that if it continues, the relationship aspect would suffer even that much more. So I needed to do my part and make sure that I was focusing on that mindset to develop it so that I could kind of catch up to him or not allow that separation to become too large.
well, you're looking at the result of the separation becoming large, and me choosing my self-worth over an argument because I'm going to continue growing.
Yeah.
Regret is, that's just in my nature. You know what I mean? So yeah, is there peace? Like, I strive for peace. You know what I mean? I always, so that's just it. You know what I mean? I'm here to be accountable and let you ladies know who exactly I am. Totally transparent. You know what I mean? And that's just, yeah.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. And you know, I was gonna say, I didn't take a poll at the beginning how many people we have or how many ladies we have who are married versus single versus in a serious relationship, because I think this applies across the board. It's never too late to start having those conversations about your goals and making sure that you are becoming aligned. And if you're not in a relationship, as you look for a significant other, it's like, okay, these are the things that are important to me. I'm not gonna let, you know, love or, you know, that love at first sight where you're like, you don't see anything wrong with the other person. Don't let that get in the way of actually having those important conversations about goals and money and future and where do you see yourself in 10 years. I think that's something that's super important. And again, when Ben and I got married, we didn't have that conversation. Somehow we ended up, I don't know, getting lucky or just figured it out along the way. But I know that doesn't happen with a lot of other couples. And I think, you know, if you're the person who constantly wants to grow and constantly wants to push challenge the status quo, but your significant other is not, that's also that gap, right? And you got to make sure that you figure out a way to resolve that conflict before it leads to something that's even more impactful or potential separation, because that's a very scary thought. Anyone else want to chime in? Anything else?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead, Tammy. Yeah, we can hear you.
So I just want to say, I love how you guys are doing this women Cashflow Tribe, you know, kumbaya kind of situation here. It's really lovely to see. I just want to mention that, you know, like as a couple, because I'm married and I've been married for, I don't know, 13 years now. And I just feel like as a couple, we're always changing. And as individuals, we're always changing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, you know, there's that level of parity, but at the same time, like, if you're the person that wants to grow and evolve, it's hard for as a couple to grow together.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Why do you think that is?
I mean, it's just,
did we lose you? I think we lost Trammy. I think we'll see if she can come back because I'm curious why she thinks that's the case. I think with growth, if both people are pushing, like I love the fact that Ben wants to grow so much and is never happy, just kind of remaining flat. Because for him, it's either he's growing or he's dying. There's no in between. And the fact that he is that way and I'm ambitious in my own ways, it pushes me. Like so many times we'll have a conversation and it's because of him that I go and take an action or I go and listen to a podcast. So I like that. It's kind of like having an accountability partner at the gym, right? When you've got somebody that's calling you every day, like, are we going to go hit the gym today? It makes you actually want to do it and pushes you to be uncomfortable, right? Because sometimes it is uncomfortable to do some of these things that we're doing. So I'm very grateful for Ben. And I, you know, I've tried to push him. He's always said, I don't need you to motivate me because I'm already motivated. So I'm like, great. If you ever don't feel that way, let me know. But, you know, I think we push each other and, you know, depending on the couple, maybe that might not be the scenario, or maybe sometimes it's harder to take feedback or to take advice from your significant other. It's happened before where maybe I say something to Ben and he's like, yeah, okay, okay. And then somebody else says the same thing and they're like, oh, that's a great idea. Like, well, I said it in the first place. Why didn't you say that when I said it to you, right? So sometimes it just takes a different person or a different perspective to say the exact same thing. So sometimes maybe Trammy, this is what you were trying to get at, that, maybe you challenging each other in your relationship is not taken the same way as maybe somebody outside. Maybe me pushing you might have a different impact on how you react to that personal development. So that's very interesting. I'm reading some of these comments here. Sounds like idea or podcast ideas and books. I've got some that maybe I'll post them on my Instagram page. I don't know if you all have Instagram or even Facebook. I'm on Facebook. You can find me as Andreea Muresan. Maria is my middle name. Or on Instagram, humble.wife. You guys can find me there. Let's see. It looks like Impact Theory and Les Brown. Obsessed Podcast. I listened to a couple of episodes. I listened to the one that you, Brittany, and Evan did together. That was a great one. I loved it.
You did?
Yes, I loved it.
That's awesome.
You guys are great. Let's see, some other comments. I'm looking forward to this ladies' night. Yay, I'm so glad to hear that. Archie said, I'm so glad to have this call every Wednesday from now on. I can finally tell my husband to make some dinner. That's awesome. Should we do this every night? Because I could make that happen. Let's see. My husband and I are in the middle of those conversations, just getting started. Yeah, definitely have those conversations. It's important to make sure that you're aligned, like I said, on your goals and what you're trying to achieve together. And I'm not sure if anybody has any other comments. I have kind of one final thought for you ladies tonight. I guess before I get to that, does anybody else have anything they want to chime in with? I'll take that as a no. If you do, feel free to pop it into the comments or the chat box, I should say. What I realized, and this is going to make me sound maybe arrogant, maybe just confident, I don't know, I guess there's a fine line between that. But what I realized is that I am Ben's biggest asset. Like, the reason he is so successful is because, I mean, he's good on his own, but a big part of it is because of me, right? So I have to figure out, how do I maintain that? How do I keep being a big asset to him? I don't want to be one of those wives that are, nagging him, or why aren't you home for dinner? Or why didn't you buy me all this stuff? I know that he could do this on his own, but he's doing it better because he's got me. Confident or arrogant, I don't know. You ladies decide. Arlie says, behind every successful man is a successful woman. Yes, I firmly agree with that. But no, I truly believe that, if the marriage side is good, if the home front is good, then he can actually focus on the battles that he has at work. If he was facing battles at home, if he had somebody at home that wasn't appreciating him, or was making the home part or the marriage part more difficult, he would be distracted from the work side, and it wouldn't help him be as good at what he does with the business, right? So because I'm able to help him at home, and I'm able to have a good relationship, we resolve conflict when we have it, because I've learned that now. I think that's what makes him a much better businessman, and really bring that success to the business. And the same way, right? For me, the fact that he is so good at his business, it pushes me to be a better person in my own corporate career. I think of myself as a successful finance manager. I'm good at what I do. I'm confident. And that's because I have Ben's support. I think it goes both ways, right? And sometimes we have to make some decisions that are a little bit harder to make. But the fact that he's there and he's supporting me in that decision doesn't make me worry, or doesn't, it's actually funny. Sometimes he pushes me more with some of those decisions. Those are harder decisions, which is awesome, because then I'm like, all these things that I was trying to work through, he automatically kind of says, okay, well, don't worry about those things. We'll figure them out. Just if you think this is the right thing, just go ahead and do it. And so I think we've got both, support systems for each other, and it's working out great. But what I would say for you ladies is no matter if you're married, single, looking, whatever, if you're the driver, if you're the co-pilot, no matter your role, ultimately, I think that you can be the biggest asset to your partner. I think you just got to figure out how to work on your mind and how to best support each other. So hopefully you guys got a lot from this. Next week, I'll be talking a little bit more about relationships and more lessons that I've learned from being married for almost 12 years. Some conflict stuff that I teased you guys about earlier. But look forward to seeing you all next week. If there's something that you want to talk about or you want to hear more about, please send those ideas to me. You know how to find me on both Facebook and Instagram. I would love to hear from you guys and give me feedback. Like, this is my first time doing this. I've never done anything like this. I'm actually an introvert, so the fact that I'm putting myself out there, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone, but I actually really like it. So, because I like connecting with you all. I think after this past weekend and the London boot camp a month ago, I've started building some of these relationships, and I look forward to seeing you guys grow. I'm interested in what you guys are working through and how can I help you, or vice versa, right? I'm super excited to just keep building these relationships that we've started. But please give me feedback, because certainly if I can improve, I'm all about how do I get better, right? How do I get better? So please send those tidbits to me. I see a bunch of people saying, this is great, you're killing it, thank you. If no one has any other questions, that is all I have for you ladies tonight. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a blessed night and enjoy the rest of your week. I'll be cheering for you all. Remember, you are your partner's biggest asset. Have a great night. How do I turn this off?